After close to 100 hours of indecision and uncertainty and lots of lobbying by various parties concerned, early on Thursday morning, the Congress party finally seemed to arrive at a resolution on its leadership in Karnataka. It's now clear that Siddaramaiah is going to be the Chief Minister and DK Shivakumar, who was the state Congress chief, is going to be his deputy. Or he's going to be the Deputy Chief Minister, because as he told one TV channel, Siddaramaiah is not his boss. He said, none of us as bosses, we are colleagues. It's an interesting arrangement that the Congress has arrived at, and I want to focus on just one aspect of this. This is not the first time the Congress has faced a situation like this, where it has had multiple strong local leaders, with each one of them with an aspiration for the top job, which is the Chief Minister's job. The Congress, of course, is not in power in the center, which makes this much more of a dilemma for it, because if a party is in power in the center, when there are rival aspirants for the Chief Minister's post, it can easily move one of them to the center, which is exactly what the BJP did in the case of Assam, where Himanta Biswa Sarma wanted to be the Chief Minister, but Sarbananda Sonowal was the incumbent Chief Minister. But after the latest election, Mr. Sonowal was moved to Delhi, and Himanta Biswa Sarma was made the Chief Minister. But if you're not in power in the center, and the Congress has not been in power in the center since 2014, in fact, its national presence has been shrinking. If you look at it in terms of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha seats, what do you do? In the case of the Congress, the solution seems to be agreements and arrangements, some of which are secret. Now, the unfortunate aspect about these is that they don't always work out. Let's take the case of Chhattisgarh, where it is an open secret. And an open secret means everyone knows, but no one wants to admit. But it is an open secret that there were two rival aspirants for the Chief Minister's post, Bhupesh Baghel and T.S. Singhdeo. They were told that each one of them could serve for 2.5 years. But after his 2.5 years were up, Mr. Baghel apparently did not relinquish his seat. Nor was the Congress central leadership in a position of power to enforce a transition of power, which again is understandable, right? I mean, what gives you the authority to call the shots in a state? Rajasthan is another example of this, where the Congress has pretty much allowed the conflict between Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and his one-time deputy Sachin Pilot spiral out of control. I mean, Sachin Pilot actually has been behaving like a rival or an opposition politician in a state which is ruled by his own party, and there is no, there has been no effort, or at least no public effort, but one doesn't know whether there are behind-the-scenes efforts by the Congress party to resolve this. In this case, we're not speaking about, of course, Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan now, we are speaking about Karnataka. In this case, again, it emerges that there were a series of meetings that the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge had with both the aspirants. He explained each one's strengths to the other person, but at the end of the day, it took a call from Sonia Gandhi, the former president, and it took a deal, which apparently both parties have been told not to talk about. So it's clearly another secret deal, which looks at a power transition after 2.5 years. Will this last? Won't this last? I don't want to get into the realm of speculation now, but secret deals are not really the way to effect transitions of power. I think you need to be much more transparent about these things. I do understand the objective of not wanting to destabilize the Chief Minister even before he takes over by saying he's going to be in office for only 2.5 years. But I think it just gives everyone reassurance. And probably the government will actually be much more stable if you decide that it's going to be 2.5 years either way. But I think the larger objective for the Congress is going to be to see whether it can take some of the gains in these assembly elections in Karnataka and actually do better in the Lok Sabha elections only in Karnataka. I'm not saying Lok Sabha elections across the country, because Karnataka sends 28 members to the Lok Sabha, 28 representatives to the Lok Sabha. 26 of them were from the BJP the last time around, 25 plus 1. One of them was an independent who was supported by the BJP. Can the Congress make a dent in that? And to make a dent in that, Mr. Siddaramaiah and Mr. Shivkumar are going to have to work closely together. And they will obviously work closely together provided the kind of compromise, the kind of deal that's been arranged, that's been arrived at between them is perceived by both of them to be equitable. And I think that's really going to be the challenge for the Congress party in Karnataka. This is not a weak government in terms of numbers. They've got 135 people. There is no apparent or clear risk of this government falling because some people quit and go to the other side. It's a strong majority that they have. The halfway mark is 113 and they have 135. The Bharatiya Janata Party has got 65. And the Janata Dal secular has become such a weak force that it's quite likely that some of its representatives may want to jump ship. So I don't think there's any risk that the government faces in terms of numbers. The risks it faces, the dangers it faces are all internal. And I think it's very important that both the state level leadership and the central leadership are cognizant of this and make sure that whatever arrangement they've arrived at is enforced whenever it needs to be enforced. Right? And that's the problem with secret arrangements and secret deals, right? I mean, if you don't publicize something, there is no way that people will say that, okay, this is what has to be done, this is what everyone agreed to, and it would not be a good sign if 2.5 years from now or 3 years from now you see the same thing happening in Karnataka that you saw happen in Chhattisgarh and which you're seeing happening in Rajasthan today. And I think that is a real thing that the Congress should guard against.